Manifestation is a powerful tool, but what if we're using it as a way to avoid doing the very work that will bring us true fulfillment? The truth is, you can't manifest your way out of pain or unhealed wounds. In fact, if you use manifestation to avoid these deeper issues, then it can become a form of spiritual bypassing, leaving you in a place of feeling unfulfilled, as opposed to the fulfillment you believe you're going to get by manifesting a particular life. Hi everyone, my name's Georgia. I just finished studying a master's degree in consciousness, spirituality and transpersonal psychology, and in my free time I love to study manifestation and the law of attraction. Now in this video I want to discuss an issue that's often overlooked in the world of manifestation, and that is using manifestation as a way to avoid doing our inner work. It's really important that you become conscious of this so that you can manifest in a way that's in alignment with your higher self and in a way that will bring you true fulfillment. So in this video I'm going to discuss why this is important, and at the end I'm also going to give you 3 practical steps as to how you can manifest in a conscious way, in a way that isn't a form of spiritual bypassing. So first of all, what is spiritual bypassing? This is essentially where someone uses spiritual practices to avoid facing their underlying emotional issues or their psychological wounds. So essentially it's using practices to avoid doing the inner work that you need to do. Now manifestation, when misused, can become a tool for bypassing, offering temporary relief but not any genuine growth or evolution. So you might use manifestation as a way to change your external circumstances without addressing the internal circumstances first. So you're not doing the healing that you need to do in order to spiritually grow and evolve as a person. These underlying issues and wounds are still going to be there no matter how much you use manifestation to try and shift your external circumstances. Those internal issues are still going to be lingering under the surface, and they're always going to rear their head in some way. Now I want to give you some examples of this so you can see what I mean in action. So the first example is someone trying to manifest wealth or abundance. So where this can become a form of spiritual bypassing is if someone is trying to manifest wealth, but at the same time they're someone who feels unworthy of wealth. Maybe there's someone who's grown up and hasn't experienced wealth in their life, and so they don't know what it is like to be abundant, to be wealthy, and they don't feel worthy of it. They do not feel worthy of receiving money. But despite that, they are using manifestation to try and attract money into their life. So maybe they're doing practices such as visualization, visualizing themselves attracting money and being able to afford all of the things they want in life. Maybe they're using affirmations to tell themselves that they're abundant, that they're rich, that they're wealthy. But what they're not doing is addressing this underlying sense of unworthiness, this belief that they are not someone who is worthy of wealth and abundance. Now, the problem here is, if you do these manifestation techniques, you might attain wealth despite having this underlying sense of unworthiness. However, simply attaining the wealth isn't going to solve the underlying issue. That unresolved belief is still going to be there lingering, and at the very least it might prevent them from actually enjoying the wealth. But at the worst, it might actually lead to self-sabotage. On an unconscious level, they might sabotage the wealth that they've managed to attain because their subconscious still doesn't believe that they are worthy of that wealth. So this might mean that even if they have managed to manifest it, that they might not keep it because their state of being, their belief system, is not in alignment with what they've attracted. So they might be able to hold on to it for a little while, but might eventually lose it unless they resolve the underlying issue that they never resolved in the first place. Now the second example I want to give you is someone who is trying to manifest love, someone who's trying to manifest a loving, healthy relationship. Now where this might be a form of spiritual bypassing is if someone is trying to manifest a relationship to avoid feelings of loneliness or unworthiness again. Maybe there's someone who lacks self-esteem. Maybe they're trying to manifest a relationship to fill some kind of void. Again, this isn't someone who's manifesting from a place of wholeness. They're manifesting from a place of fragmentation. And even though it's probably not happening consciously, they're trying to manifest to avoid doing the internal work, the work that is going to make them feel whole and complete in the first place. Now again, this person might be able to attract a relationship, but the risk here is that that relationship might not be fulfilling, and what is very likely to happen is that these underlying issues, these lack of self-esteem or lack of self-worth, is likely to be reflected in some way in the relationship. Now this is something that I've personally experienced. When I was in the relationship before the one I was currently in, I, at that stage of my life, did lack a lot of self-esteem and self-worth, and there were little things that would happen in that relationship that I noticed that now, looking back on it, I believe were a reflection of the lack of self-esteem I had at the time. Just like when it comes to money, having a relationship isn't going to magically heal those underlying wounds of unworthiness, of a lack of self-esteem and self-love. These are things you have to learn to heal yourself. You have to do the inner work if you want to truly heal those wounds. Now this leads me on to my next point, which is the irony of healing. Because if you actually do the internal work and you heal the unresolved issues, then it becomes much more natural to you to actually manifest what you want to manifest. You become much more magnetic to your desires, but to your desires in a much more aligned form. Now, the thing we have to remember is that we're always manifesting. The whole idea of the law of attraction is that our external reality is a reflection of our internal reality. We are constantly attracting things into our life that are a reflection of our internal state of being, our belief system. So what people mean when they talk about using manifestation or using the law of attraction is taking this typically unconscious process and making it conscious. Instead of being ruled by the beliefs that reside in our subconscious mind that could have come from any number of sources, we are intentionally choosing our internal state and our belief system by intentionally doing that internal work. So we are consciously transforming our outer experience, our external reality, by first transforming our internal reality. You're allowing yourself to become the person that would have the things that you're trying to manifest. You're allowing yourself to become a natural magnet to those things, instead of using manifestation to try and attain the external result and to avoid doing the work that would allow you to become that person in the first place. Now, this is something that I experienced firsthand in my own life when it came to my relationships. So I already talked about the one relationship I was in the past that reflected my self-esteem issues back to me. Now, after that relationship, I went through a lot of healing as a result of the breakup, actually. There were a lot of unresolved issues for me to work through, and the breakup kind of brought all of those to the surface. And by feeling all of those emotions and allowing myself to process those unresolved issues, what I did is I naturally started to heal them. And I found as a result of that process that my self-esteem and self-confidence started to grow. There is no doubt that I was a different person after having that experience than I was before. So even though I didn't know it at the time, it provided the perfect opportunity for me to do that inner work. And then what ironically happened is that I eventually did attract a much more fulfilling relationship, one in which those previous self-esteem issues were no longer reflected back to me because I had healed them. And the thing is that this isn't something that I had to consciously manifest. In fact, I wasn't even trying to manifest it at the time. It just naturally happened as a result of me going through this shift because I had done some of that internal work. So now I just want to go over 3 practical tips that you can implement to allow you to manifest in a conscious way without bypassing those unresolved emotional issues, and in a way that does actually bring true fulfillment. So the first step is self-reflection. I want you to ask yourself, are you trying to manifest a particular thing to avoid some pain or discomfort? Now, obviously, you're going to have to get really honest with yourself here. Maybe it would help to do some journaling around this issue and see what comes up for you. Now, the second step leads on from this question, and that is to embrace healing. If the answer to the first question was yes, you are using it as a way to avoid pain or discomfort, then instead of trying to manifest that thing, I want you to focus on doing the inner work. So for example, if you are trying to manifest a relationship to fill some void within you, then what I want you to do is stop trying to manifest that relationship. So for example, stop visualizing having a perfect relationship or whatever other technique you're using. Instead, focus on resolving those underlying emotional wounds. Now, maybe you can do this yourself if it is something that's a minor issue through stuff like journaling to get your thoughts and emotions out. Maybe you can use meditation as a form of self-reflection. What I ultimately think is the most effective thing is actually just allowing yourself to feel your emotions when you're triggered. So for example, if you are trying to manifest a relationship and maybe you are talking to someone that you're interested in and they take forever to reply, and this is bringing up anxiety and all these emotions, instead of trying to get a reply out of that person and maybe going into mental spirals, allow yourself to feel the emotions that are coming up. And again, you can journal about this as a way to get your emotions out, but just allow yourself to feel these emotions because that allows them to be healed and to be released. And of course, doing this inner work is a matter of discernment. Maybe you have some unresolved issues that are extremely deep and extremely serious and beyond the realm of being able to cope with yourself. So maybe in that case you might need to go to therapy or something like that. You just need to use the discernment to know if what you need to heal is beyond your own personal limits and know when to seek professional help. So the third step is becoming what you want to attract. So again, using the example of love or a relationship, then what I would suggest is that you focus on becoming the love that you want to attract. Now, this can mean prioritizing your own self-love and trying to build up your own self-confidence and self-esteem, but it can also mean just focusing on the love you already have in your life, maybe on the other relationships you already have in your life. If you want to attract wealth and abundance, then focus on the abundance that you already have in your life. Even if it's something as simple as you have a roof over your head or you're able to eat 3 meals a day. You know, it can be things that are incredibly simple, but you just want to keep focusing on all of these things that are going to make you feel abundant already. In this sense, if we feel these things already, then we become a natural magnet to these things in our life. Firstly, through the law of attraction, but also we can just look at it from a neuroscientific perspective. The more we focus on something and the more we believe something, then our brain literally filters our reality in line with that. So if you start to feel abundant because you spend all of your time focusing on abundance, then your mind is literally going to zone in on everything else in your life that represents abundance. So suddenly, just as a matter of neuroscience, your life is going to start looking more abundant. But if you do manifestation this way, by focusing on your internal state first, as opposed to what it is you want to attract externally, then you are just going to become a natural magnet to those things and you will already be a match to them. You won't be trying to manifest them in the external as a way to try and avoid doing that internal work. You already internally will be a match to those things once you receive them. And you'll likely attract them in a much more aligned and higher form. Like the relationship example, you'll attract a relationship that won't be reflecting back to you all of those unresolved issues. Instead, you'll be attracting a relationship that matches your level of self-love and self-worth. And so you're much more likely to experience true fulfillment, as opposed to if you were just using manifestation as a way to avoid doing that inner work in the first place. So, manifestation should not be a form of escape, but rather a tool that complements your healing journey. Embrace the inner work and know that when you heal, you will naturally attract the things that you truly desire, because the real magic happens when we manifest from a place of wholeness. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful and I hope to see you in the next video.